On the last weekend of January 2026, Baden-Württemberg's rail network had real cause for celebration. For the first time in decades, a long-closed railway line returned to regular passenger service. The Hermann-Hesse-Bahn is the first large-scale, high-profile railway reactivation in the state. It reconnects Weil der Stadt with Calw and restores the final missing section of the historic Württemberg Black Forest Railway between Stuttgart and Calw. After years of planning, reconstruction, and political debate, trains are finally running again. So, on the very first day of public operations, February the 1st, 2026, I went to ride the Hermann-Hesse-Bahn myself. But this line is more than just a local success. To understand why this reopening matters, it helps to look briefly at what the line used to be. The link between Weil der Stadt and Calw was once a normal part of the regional rail network, connecting the northern Black Forest directly into Stuttgart. When passenger services were withdrawn in the early 1980s, Calw lost its direct rail connection to the state's capital and its largest city. What followed were decades of dependence on buses and cars, and a permanent gap in the rail network. Unlike many closed lines, though, this corridor remained structurally intact, thanks to preservation efforts by the district, which kept the idea of reactivation alive. But for years it was seen as too complex, too expensive, or simply politically unrealistic. The Hermann-Hesse-Bahn today reconnects that missing link between Calw and Weil der Stadt, where it links directly to the Stuttgart S-Bahn network. While much of the route follows the historic alignment, with several rebuilt or reactivated stations serving a mix of rural and small town catchment areas, this is not a heritage line. Alongside the restored infrastructure, a new tunnel was constructed and the line was rebuilt to modern standards and integrated into the regional timetable. It is designed for regular, all-day passenger service, fully integrated into the regional timetable and intended to function as a commuter railway, not a tourist attraction. By linking to the S-Bahn at Weil der Stadt, the northern Black Forest is no longer an isolated pocket. It is now efficiently connected to Stuttgart's economic engine. The new infrastructure is genuinely impressive, and no discussion of the Hermann-Hesse-Bahn would be complete without addressing the tunnel beds. The two historic tunnels on the line became important habitats for local bat populations during the decades of disuse. Because the line was originally double-tracked, the project was able to take an unusual approach, effectively building a tunnel within a tunnel. A compromise which allows trains to pass through one section while preserving the other as a protected roosting space for the bats. These measures were one of the main reasons for delays and cost increases, and they became a focal point of public debate. The key point is this: railway reactivation is not just an engineering challenge. It's a political, environmental, and financial one, especially when lines have been dormant for decades. Riding the line on its first day of public service, the atmosphere was unmistakably one of celebration. There were rail enthusiasts on board, but also passengers simply using the train to get where they needed to go. And that distinction matters. The success of reactivation is not measured on opening day, but in whether it becomes part of everyday mobility, something people rely on rather than talk about. This is why the Hermann-Hesse-Bahn matters far beyond Calw. Baden-Württemberg has identified many closed lines as potential reactivation candidates, a handful of which I have particular interest in because of the areas they serve and will probably feature on this tunnel at some point. But cost, demand, and environmental constraints, as well as network integration, all limit what can realistically be delivered. This project provides real data, ridership figures, operating costs, and political lessons. Future reactivations in the state will be judged against what happens here. If she's yet another example of a reactivation project that underestimates its ridership numbers, it will invariably give support to groups trying to advance their own reactivations, while undershooting them will unquestionably hamper those drives. The reactivation of the Hermann-Hesse-Bahn was not perfect, And it is certainly not a perfect blueprint that can simply be copied elsewhere, but it will serve as a practical reference point for other regional authorities and interest groups currently evaluating the costs and benefits of rail activation in their areas. If you want to come and ride the Hermann-Hesse-Bahn yourself, the line is now open every day, with hourly service between Calw and Weil-der-Stadt, and half-hourly service scheduled to begin in June of this year.